We had no idea how big this was.
I was being asked to go to conventions during that first season. I turned them all down. I didn't know what they were. I felt. Besides, I needed to be learning my lines at weekends. I couldn't go traveling around the country. I was so frightened that Monday morning would come around and I wouldn't be ready, or Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, finally, when the season was over, I accepted an invitation to go to Denver. They took me, I got out of the plane, they picked me up in a car, they took me to this place, I went in a back door, and they said, okay, you're going to be on in 10 minutes. And I said, that's great. Is there anybody out there? This was a serious question. You know, I don't know.
5,000 people.
I walked on this stage, I knew what it was like to have been a Beatle in Shea Stadium. And I had no idea through the entire first season that that was happening out there.
It's still that way. Don't you guys get that in Vegas?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Talk a moment about what it's like to go out on stage.
Let me just say this first. Patrick was quoted. I wonder if it's accurate. Patrick was somewhere quoted as saying, if I had known what I was getting into, I would have said no, and it would have been a mistake. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk a moment what it's like to go out on stage in front of 4, 5, 10. We used to go out in front of 15,000 people.
Remember the Albert Hall?
Oh, that was
in Albert Hall. We've been there. Yeah. And not know exactly what you're going to say. I mean,
didn't it become easy?
It became like flying, but in the beginning,
when you describe it to your friends, other actors included, what particular skill and what it is you do at a convention, it's inconceivable, because it's really a combination of stand-up, public speaking, anecdotes. I do, of course, interpretive dance and singing as part of my convention appearances,
but
some choose not to. I do impersonations, and you have a captive audience.
Right.
You've got 15,000 people who have paid because they like the show, so you don't even have to win them over.
Right.
It's.
So
have you ever done that?
I've never been to the convention. Never been invited.
That's not true.
No, that's
I know
absolutely. I swear on my grandkids.
Tell her she's lying.
No, this is the truth.
They've never invited you?
No, they've not.
Unbelievable.
That's impossible.
It is impossible.
No, it's absolutely true.
Unbelievable.
We've never been asked.
They're scared of you. That's why.
We've never been asked.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
I don't understand.
Have you ever talked to somebody about it?
I don't know. Who do you go? Is there like a convention person? I'm gonna get a hold of somebody now. But let me ask you this: given now, you know I don't fly, so maybe that's why they, you know.
What do you do?
I have a bus. I don't.
So
fly.
you're like what's his name on the football?
John Madden.
John
Yeah.
Madden.
Yeah.
You take a bus across the country?
Yes, I do.
I've seen her bus. She used to park it in my street.
And it is in
street
our street.
In
our street.
Yeah.
I believe I brought you to that street. Hello. No.
Well,
but here's the
there
question.
are conventions that you can get you on a bus. I wonder if it's the same situation as when you first said you wanted to do Star Trek. And,
I think probably.
They're waiting for a call from you.
Probably.
Does she really want to do it? If she calls us,
I think sure that
it may be. And also, you know, the other thing that I think that happens, particularly with me, is that people are never sure that I would be willing to do something.
There you are.
That's what I know.
That I would be willing to.
Could it be that of all of us here, you're the one person that has a stand-up solo act history and reputation?
Maybe.
And a very successful one.
Saw you on Broadway, baby.
Yes, we were all younger
I did
then.
too.
Now, Patrick, you're always on stage somewhere. You're doing the name of the play we cannot say because we're on a stage, so we will not say it.
All right.
But, you know, I used to be in the theater too.
But what's so admirable about him is his dedication to that theater. And those of us who do theater know how elemental it is. It is so, it requires such dedication, such strength, such energy, such endurance, such a mental approach. It is the actor, the ultimate actor, really, who comes off successful movies and television and then goes back to connecting with the crowd.
But it's the kind, that's exact, I mean, without blowing smoke too much.
Blow away.
That's exactly how our show became successful, because that's how he approached Picard, and the rest of us were sort of, it's like playing tennis with somebody who's a better tennis player. You go, ooh, 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 ooh. That's how it's going to be. And he approached the work that way on the TV show with 8 pages as opposed to 5 acts.
And Jonathan, you're directing.
All over
do.
the place. Is that something you always wanted to do? Did you always want to direct?
It grew on me as I saw. I always thought that was the best job on the set. Mm-hmm. It's actually, I now think it's probably the best job in the world to direct movies.
And Leonard, your photography, we were talking about it just a moment ago, but you just did a book on these gigantic, Zoftic women, these
Large
gigantic,
women, yes.
large, gorgeous, but big.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
these are
he has
not
also
huge.
a wonderful philosophy behind it, behind the book.
Tell me, please.
Well, the book really deals with the issue of body image in our culture. What is beautiful? We're being told by the fashion industry that a certain kind of body image is required to be considered beautiful. And the fact is that most people, particularly women, don't live in that kind of a body, and never will. But they're being told if you buy these pills or buy this diet or buy this exercise program or try this surgery,
Right.
you might get closer to the ideal. And it's just that carrot that's held out there for the sake of commerce, for the sake of money. And this book addresses that issue.
It's a wonderful book. We
you.
talk about it quite a bit on our show. For a moment, I want to just talk to you for a second. From Twilight Zone to Boston Legal, do you ever stop?
No. If I stopped, I might not start.
I understand that. I understand.
Yeah. No, I just, you keep going.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Boy, it's working for you now.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's done a great job of changing careers. Seriously, from a leading man to a great character actor. And
Well, it's
he's
just
done it very successfully.
evolution. Well, we've all done that.
Done it very, very well. He did a great job.
But now you've all directed, right? You've all directed Star Trek.
Well,
some
these guys
form
have
of it.
directed movies.
Right,
I
you've
only
not done them.
directed
I
series.
see. You've only. Oh, well, that's more
I
than I've done.
direct?
You directed me.
I directed you,
Yes,
yeah.
which is kind of the balance.
when
but
Patrick directed our series, he said to me, Jonathan,
you said.
no, he was, is there any way that you could motivate kneeling, if you could kneel down, see there's that big open space over there, it would be great for me if while you're saying the line, if you can just, I said, sure, I'll try it for you, Patrick, whatever you
I
like.
couldn't get the shot right. I couldn't get the
Jonathan,
shot.
would you kneel? Could you kneel?
Just what? He did.
I did it.
He knelt on the floor of the ship, deck of the ship.
Because that's where the camera was.
Oh, man.
How did you motivate?
I did it for him, because he did stuff for
I
me.
know, but what could you possibly be thinking
I was
if your
thinking-
character, the captain
I
of the
was thinking
ship,
what a wonderful
kneeled
actor he is.
and knelt before him? Someday he may be a sir.
My liege. Oh, my liege. And the engineering that was in
It
it.
was in engineering, yeah.
So
But you-
wait a minute. He directed you by saying, "Could you motivate?"
No, he didn't even ask me to motivate him. He asked me to kneel.
I just wanted his head
Hey,
down
what-
there, low down.
I said I'd be happy to. Grouchos? We taught you how to do the Groucho,
you
didn't we?
did. You did.
There's a lot of good American acting things you learned.
And that I use today.
That you're using today.
Yelling, for instance. I do a lot of yelling. at the
Acting is
moment.
yelling.
That's one of the first things I learned when I
But you
went to
never
Hollywood.
yelled as the captain, right?
Rarely.
Very rare.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. I did say.
You yelled at Alfred.
We'll draw the line here. Yeah, I seem to remember saying. The only
That's not a yell.
I could turn
You did
here
say
into
it's
three syllables.
You did say this at one time, though, and I think I'm not sure if it was on camera. I have never, in my 30 years in the theater, been treated like this. I do remember hearing that once.
What was it about?
What was it about?
Oh, I know something to do with
Cold
craft
coffee
service.
or something.
No cheese? The crackers were bad?
Cold coffee.
But Whoopi was asking about directing. I'm going to help you out a little bit here.
Oh,
Because,
no,
I mean,
why?
It was a good question.
Listen, to me, this is just a joy, because I've never gotten a set with all of you. So the things that you've been able to do, whether it's directing or acting, and in a bit we're going to talk about the things that are outside of Star Trek, but I just find it amazing.
I want you to ask Bill about the first day that he heard. What was his reaction the first day that he heard that I was going to direct the next Star Trek film? Ask him.
Bill, what was your reaction
We're gonna
the
enjoy
first
that.
time
I'm
you
looking forward to
heard
this, too.
that Leonard was going to direct the first Star Trek Generation movie.
Entire first season, that was happening out there.
It's still that
I
way. Don't you
remember
guys
very
get that in
interesting
Vegas?
quote
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
Yeah.
Talk a moment about what it's like to go out on stage.
Let me just say this first. Patrick was quoted.
We had no
idea.
idea how big this was.
I was being asked to go to conventions during that first season. I turned them all down. I didn't know what they were. I felt. Besides, I needed to be learning my lines at weekends. I couldn't go traveling around the country. I was so frightened that Monday morning would come around and I wouldn't be ready, or Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, finally, when the season was over, I accepted an invitation to go to Denver. It's a serious question. You know, I don't know.
5,000 people.
I walked on this stage. I knew what it was like to have been a Beatle in Shea Stadium. And I had no idea through the end. They took me, I got off the plane, they picked me up in a car, they took me to this place, I went in a back door, and they said, okay, you're going to be on in 10 minutes. And I said, that's great. Is there anybody out there? This was